means is I cannot have any contact with anybody who's part of the organization, including my family and friends whom I grew up with. The time I heard my mom's voice and my dad's voice as well was last year. They're getting old and they're changing.
Louis's story broke my heart. It made me cry. It made me want to just give him a cuddle because nobody deserves to go through that amount of pain and suffering just because they've made a mistake. I hope his family can find it in their hearts to forgive him and sort of move on with him because time lost can never be replaced. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Young, Famous and African, Season 2, Episode 7. If you're new to my channel, please leave a like, a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Am I the only one who's surprised that this season is coming to an end and we've barely seen what these people do for a living? We've barely seen where they live. All we get to see is their meetup at mixers or events or whatever. Anyway, I digress. So they decide to go to Cape Town for a friend's meetup. I think just because of the tension at Zari's birthday, they wanted a neutral environment where they could all relax and just be. And Swanky arrives last as usual in his morning slippers. I don't even know why. He felt that was appropriate attire. Maybe I'm not fashionable. Hey, and he brings this Adidas T-shirt that he has sort of made out, and at the back it's got so can the 78 persons in you reveal, and it's like that's a bit childish. Yes, it's petty, but it's very childish because the fact that even Louis said it, the fact that he was so bothered that he took time out of his day to get that made out for um Lewis doesn't make any sense. The fact that he's decided to hold on to this, you could tell even Nadia and especially Zari was very disappointed. Zari was very disappointed. And the fact that Zari was sitting next to Lois, the person who's been having this conversation about surrogacy, if it was that offensive, she should not have been sitting next to Lois. I didn't like it. Everybody in the group was just taken aback by how childish it was. Kaylee tried to question him that why would you do something like that? And he wouldn't say anything. And it's like, he's not being out of character. It's not Lois's fault that your friend decided to leave the show because she was embarrassed that Lois revealed the truth about what happened during her time in Namibia when she went to host an event. The fact that Lois spoke to Kanye, he didn't say anything offensive at all about wanting to, research surrogacy and wanting to have a conversation about Zari to see if she would be open to the idea of researching together and also being a donor. I don't know why Kanye ran with it, and for them to suddenly say that's his only incident, and the fact that he's had this crush on Fontana, that's it. It's only three things, and so for Swanky to do that, I've said this. Swanky's looking for a storyline, and he'll do anything and everything to get a storyline. But hey, that's just me. And the following day, Fontana's Lois and Rosetta meet up with Andele. I think Andele is still upset at the fact that Kanye called him the F word. I think a lot more happened that was done off scene because since the party where Kanye sort of shouted at Annie and Andele, we haven't seen them with Kanye at all. We really haven't. So I think it must be very tense. This is why they're looking for other people to film with Andele. Him and Rosetta, oh, what can we say? They were flirting as usual. And I like the fact that Andele said, yes, there is issues with Louis, but I think people need to sit down with him and actually find out what's going on. And Louis was able to speak up for himself and sort of say to Fontana, why I am your friend. Why did you not approach me when you heard what was being said? And well, I heard from Sari, who heard from Nadia, who heard from Swanky, who told me, and it's like that's too much of a chain. If this person is your friend, and if you've debated dating him, the least you could do is give him a call and say, okay, you're asking me out on dates, but I understand that you're trying to, sign up for surrogacy with Sari. What does that mean? Does it mean that you don't see our relationship progressing to such an extent that one day we might want to have children? Why did you not ask me if I'm the person that you're dating to say, do you want children? Would you ever consider having children with me instead of you running around to everybody else? I think that's what she should have said, and I have to give it to Andale for being the first person to speak up for Lois, because it seems it's only Zari and Nadia. It depends on the day. Kanye and now Andale who are speaking up for Lois. Everybody else seems to be going along with what Swanky is saying, and Kaylee is the neutral party as usual. I am surprised because Andile is saying that he and Rosetta will never be a thing, but he's always cuddling her, he's always kissing her, he's always doing this, and he says, "Oh, I want to be with Seba." How does he think Seba will feel seeing Andile and Rosetta flirting, making out, kissing each other, and everything, and being inappropriate in front of the cameras for something that's going to be seen around the world? It doesn't make sense to me, but hey, I digress. So Andele pulls Lewis aside for a conversation, which I think everybody, including Zari herself, or maybe she's already had this conversation with him, should have had. And he sort of wants to find out what's happened. Why is Lewis in the firing line, and why are people really going hard at him? What did he say that's upset people like Swanky that they're attacking him? And then Lewis talks about his time in the Big Brother Africa house, where apparently he had sex with someone and he was excommunicated from his church, his family, because his church mandated that anyone that was a member of the church should not have anything to do with him. And so he doesn't talk to his family. He said it's been over a year since he last heard from his parents. They are getting old. And whether or not they're sending him messages and they don't want the church to know, I hope they are keeping in touch with him. And this is where Andale was able to conclude that maybe this is the reason why Louis wants a family. And Louis said the only reason why he was seeking advice, which I said at the time, that he was seeking advice from Kanye. He was asking Kanye, "What do you think? Do you think it's a good idea for me to have a conversation with Zari, since you know her better than I do, and see if she's interested in us researching surrogacy or becoming a donor?" And so Angela was able to realize that, oh, actually, it's not because Lewis is being a creep. It's not because Lewis is being inappropriate. Lewis actually had a conversation in confidence with somebody else, and then they took that conversation and ran with it and sort of passed on whatever they felt was appropriate and left out everything else Lewis said. And it was really sad and heartbreaking to see that this man is someone who's just looking for love. He's someone who's just trying to build his own family, since the family that he was born into has rejected him, since the family that he accumulated at church has rejected him. So he's trying to create his own family to find himself some peace. I think to find love and comfort from someone. And so I hope, if nothing else, Andile is able to make the group understand that this is where Lewis is coming from. And I hope people like Swanky are man enough to apologize, because Lewis deserves an apology from everyone in the group, as far as I'm concerned, from everyone in the group, regardless of whether they've said anything negative or not. I think all of them needs to apologize to Lewis. They are his family now. They are his community. They should be building him up and not tearing him down. Naked has me on the floor. Naked is crazy. So he has this date with Kaylee where he says he's ordered Turkish Delight because they are her favorites, and she is happy, but she's also wanting to know what is the next step to their relationship. Is the next step that he's going to be proposing and they're going to get married, or are they still going to stay where they are? And at first she's taken aback because she says he's not normally a romantic guy, so she's surprised that he's arranged this date. And he says he's arranged it, and she's questioning whether it was production who put it together or whether it was actually him. And Naked, I think Naked doesn't want to lose Kaylee, so I think he's enjoying the honeymoon phase that they're in at the moment, and he'll do anything and say anything just to keep them there. Because Kaylee was trying to ask him, so what's the next step? And he was very vague with it. He didn't come out and say exactly what the next step is. But then he went and he met Kanye, and it's like, have you seen what Kanye did to Zari, Skanky, and everybody else about the surrogacy issue? I don't think she's the right person for you to be talking to. They seem to be close friends. They do have their ups and downs. And so, he's asking advice on how to reassure Kaylee to make her see that he is serious about her and he's not planning on, moving away from her to somebody else. And Kanye comes up with the idea of the trailer proposal, and he's sort of saying, "Oh, but that sounds like marriage," and it's like naked. What assurance do you think she needs? Assurance she needs is for you. Already are in a relationship with her. The next stage is she wants an engagement ring. She wants you to propose marriage. Because as soon as he's asked, "Do you see yourself with Kaylee when you're 70 years old?" He's frozen. Kanye has to say to him, "Are you okay? Is everything okay?" And he's like, "Well, I'm thinking." And she's like, "It's been 3 years, dude. You shouldn't still be thinking. You should know by now. It's the time for thinking was the first year. Year three, you should know. I see a future with this person or I don't." So I think he's got commitment issues. I think Kaylee's in for a long wait. Even if she proposes, they're going to have a lot of issues until he's ready to become a husband. I don't think Naked is ready to be a husband as of yet. Okay, am I the only person wondering what's going on between Andale and Kanye? Am I the only person wondering? Because she's the only person he hasn't filmed with since the party that Kanye threw and yelled at everybody and called everybody the F word. What is going on? We need that addressed. Anyway, I have to commend Andele because Andele, I think, after having a conversation with Lewis, went and told Swanky exactly what happened. Because suddenly Swanky is so chill, he's asking Lewis, "You need to speak up, you need to tell everyone your story." I think Angela told Swanky that you need to stop bullying this guy. This is what he's going through. This is the weight he's carrying. And for you to come here and be throwing shade at him and being petty, you're only making things worse. We are his family. We have to embrace him. We have to show him love and kindness because then they encourage him. And Zari, throughout all this, I have to give her credit as well because she's always been beside Lois. She's always found herself sitting next to Lois, regardless of what everybody else around her was saying, whether they were saying, he wants your egg, he wants to do this, he wants you to be surrogate. She has still supported him quietly. And so for him to speak up to the whole group and explain what happened, you could see the pride on Kanye's face. Kanye might have taken the message incorrectly, but you could see the pride on her face that she was happy for him, that he was speaking up and people were seeing who he is and accepting him for who he is and his story. And I think he must have told Kanye his story. He must have told Zari his story, but this was a way to shine a spotlight on him and sort of make him leave a mark on the season because now everybody will always remember Lois because of the surrogacy issue and now him talking about his family and how he's been excommunicated. It makes more sense and it brings empathy and love for him. Whereas had he just gone straight to Zari and things had got blown out of proportion or whatever, nobody would have known anything. And I love this for him. I love how we've seen the arc of him, the growth, the fact that he's been able to speak up for himself. I think maybe in this church they weren't allowed to be confrontational. So I think this is a new Lewis, and I am so here for him, and I'm so happy for him, and I'm cheering him on, and I appreciate everybody in the group for accepting him and sort of supporting him. I love Rosetta. I love Rosetta. She was someone was saying, "Oh, we shouldn't be judging him," and she went, "You judged him, not all of us. I didn't judge him." And it's like, speak up. I really love Rosetta. I hope they keep her till next season and after. Oh, I'm here for the group embracing Lewis and taking him, on the excursion that Swanky, Fontana, Naked, and Kaylee took. And he was sort of still very nervous and very anxious to think that, oh my God, are these people really seriously, have they forgiven me? Or is it just a ploy to get me up here and sort of start another fight in the middle of nowhere and have nowhere to run to? I love the fact that, I don't know. I guess this is the trailer proposal that they were talking about. The fact that Swanky gave Naked a ring and was sort of saying, okay, you need to propose. This is a beautiful view. You need to propose to Kaylee. And Kaylee sort of taken aback. I don't know. Will they propose? I don't know. Will they get married? I don't know. I think Kaylee's easygoing, so I think she'll be able to deal with Naked. I don't know whether Naked is ready for commitment. I think Kaylee would make him an excellent partner, so we'll see what happens in the final episode. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.